Hi, welcome to the low back series. The goal of this video is to improve flexibility and strength of the low back in the adjoining areas. Low back injuries plague the incredibly active and also the incredibly sedentary. So a lot of the things that we're going to do today are going to help you. If you have extreme back discomfort, see a doctor before starting this video. The secret of this program is very simple. Balance. We want to work a balance of strength and flexibility between opposing muscle groups to keep the back in harmony. All right, before we get started, we need heat. And a great way to do this, if you're feeling stiff or achy, a good heating pad or a nice warm shower before you start this program will add some mobility to those tight muscle tissues. What we're going to be working in this program is alternating an exercise with some mobility work, some flexibility work throughout the program. Do your best to try to work on the techniques and feel it in the right muscle groups. For all the exercises and stretches that you're about to do, the prescription is going to be very easy. Hold all stretches for 1 minute and do all exercises for 15 to 20 repetitions. You can do 2 to 3 sets depending on your time constraints. All right, the first combination we're going to work with here is the bent leg bridge. Now, I do these a lot in my posterior chain series, and these are equally valuable if you have some low back discomfort. Again, start off with what feels comfortable. You don't have to put yourself through the roof as far as pain. We're going to start off driving through the heel and lifting the hips up off the ground. While Robin is doing this, she's keeping her navel pulled to back, and she's working on driving through her heel. We're going to do 15 to 20 repetitions of this motion. If Robin has discomfort, she doesn't go so high. I have plenty of clients who come in stiff and tired and they just bridge an inch off the ground. We're going to start off here with the figure 4 stretch to alternate with the bent leg bridge. Robin's going to cross her ankle over her foot. Now, if she's feeling significant stretch in this hip, it does not have to change. If we want to add a little difficulty, she can scoot her hips towards this heel. Okay? If that still doesn't feel a stretch and we want to add a little bit more, now she reaches through the leg, grabs the right thigh and pulls that towards her. She holds these stretches for 1 minute per side before going back to a bent leg bridge. 2 to 3 times. For the next combinations of movements here, we're going to start off with a side lying leg lift. Robin lays completely on her side, leg straight, knee straight, foot flexed. From here, she's going to open up, very simply, up and down. Now, the key ingredient with this one is to make sure we're staying side lying so you feel it here in the outer hip, as opposed to flexing and rotating the leg and lifting up and down here. Ends up feeling it in the front of the thigh. We want to recruit the muscles of the outer hip. Now, after she does both sides, she'll roll onto her stomach and do a quad stretch. Now, there are a couple variations to this. Traditionally, you can just reach back and grab her foot, and this will stretch out her quad, starting to loosen up the hip flexors as well. If that is too tight and you can't reach back, then you can take a yoga strap or a belt and wrap it around your foot, and then you can pull on the foot. Now we're going to start off with a posterior tilt. Now this exercise can be a little tricky, so I'm going to have Robin first put her hands on her abdomen. We want to make sure we stay soft through the abdomen. Most people, when they lay down, have some space in their low back, especially with their knees are bent. And this is going to be our first cue. Robin's going to pull her navel into her spine and tuck her hips under so that she kills the space in her low back. This opens up some of the low back vertebrae and starts to relieve some pressure in the low back. Take your time and work on this movement. A lot of people will start this movement and start just bridging up like a bent leg bridge. We want to make it very, very small and posterior tilt, tuck the pelvis under. Now to alternate this, we're going to start stimulating some of the muscles of the abdominal wall and to try to get the hip flexors to calm down. I like this partial leg lift, 1 leg at a time, the other leg is bent. Robin's going to take this from 90 to 45, real controlled. Now while she's doing this, her navel is pulled to spine, spine is pulled to the ground. So we're getting a little deep abdominal work to start working on supporting the back. So when you stand up, you're getting some relief in your low back. On this one, keep that space pulled in, keep the low back pulled into the floor, and if you have discomfort, shorten the range of motion. I have a lot of people who come in here and just do a couple inches at a time, working their way to the 90 to 45. Now I have Robin starting on her belly here. Now from here, we're going to start stimulating some of the muscles of the low back, the paraspinals. So be careful here, ease into this motion. she has her hands under her chest, and from here she's going to contract the muscles in her low back and rise up. Now, there's a couple different options here. Robin can keep her hands on the ground the whole time and just actively contract her low back and rise up. If it feels okay, she can actually arch up and lift the hands up. Okay, whenever it feels comfortable with too much intensity or pain, back off on the resistance here. Now, to alternate this exercise, we're going to go into a traditional hamstring stretch. And I like to use a yoga strap here, but you can use a belt or a towel at home. Robin's going to take that, extend it out, and work on it, keeping the leg up with the leg and knee straight. Now, option, you can have this leg straight if your back's feeling okay, or keep it bent if you have discomfort. The range of motion is dependent on your discomfort. A little bend in the knee is fine as well, and ease into a straight leg. With all of our stretches, we want to have an intensity such that you can relax into the stretch. So if you feel yourself locking down, clenching your jaw, not breathing, that's too much intensity, back off. We're going to start again on the belly for this combination. Robin's going to work a single leg hip extension. Again, control the motion. She's going to lift one leg up with the leg fairly straight off the ground. She wants to work on coming straight up with the heel and not open up or rise the hip, lift the hip up when she's doing this. As an option, if you're having trouble with this, you can actually do it with the knee bent and lift up. The whole point here is to stimulate and turn on, make sure those glutes are firing to give you some support in the low back. The alternate to this is a lunge stretch, and this is a real common stretch that I use with a lot of clients, particularly if they've been sitting for extended periods of time. When you're doing this position, you want to make sure you feel the front high thigh here. We want to pull the navel slightly to spine so you're not excessively arching the low back and creating more discomfort. And we want to lean the weight forward to increase the stretch. If you're having too much stretch, back it off. Most people will start off really vertical if they're having some back discomfort, and then we give the stretches some time and things start to open up. Work on steady breathing and relax. Now we're going to start off with some standing posture, so take your time getting up off the floor. We're going to work into some standing postures. We're going to work on a good morning. This is a movement we do a lot in the weight room, but right now we're going to do it real controlled and no additional weight, just your own body weight. Robin starts off with a micro bend in her knee. She arches her back slightly as she bows forward, hinging at the hip. Now, truly, most of the people that come in here and have some back discomfort, I just work on 15 to 20 degrees just to start getting the hamstrings, glutes, and low back warmed up and firing like we want them to. Control the movement. Inhale and exhale throughout the movement. Big no-no in this movement is the posture of the back. If you start to feel yourself round throughout the motion, it's not good. We want to keep the shoulders down, chest out, as you hinge through the hip. Now the stretch we're going to alternate with this movement is just a traditional forward fold. And we can have a significant amount of knee bend while we're doing this motion, depending on how you feel. Robin is very flexible here, so you can tell that she has her hands on the ground. Most people that first start off, if they have any discomfort, they're bending their knees significantly, they're easing into this motion. If a traditional forward fold at feet shoulder width apart bothers you, you can actually widen your stance, bend the knees, and round out. Robin will grab opposite elbows and hang down. Now the real important is that you work on relaxing in these motions. The other thing is, a lot of times people can gauge where their back is by how well they forward fold. Oftentimes at the beginning of the workout, I'll have them lean forward until it feels uncomfortable, and that'll define their end point. By the end of their routine, they usually can go significantly farther. For another variation of the forward fold, if you're having significant difficulty just doing freestanding, I put my clients up against the wall, hips leaning into the wall to give you some support, and then we add a forward lean. For the last combination today, we're going to work on a reverse crunch. Now this is a tricky movement because we want to make sure we don't use too much momentum. So Robin's going to move her legs slightly as she tucks her hips under and contracts her lower abdominals. The lower abdominals are really key ingredients to keeping support for the low back. As she tucks her hips under, the knees tend to come up, the feet tend to come up. So if I put my hand here, you'll see her feet actually rise up. Now the stretch for this one is going to be a spinal twist. Now this is a great movement, but we want to ease into it. So as she brings her knee across midline, if you're having discomfort, back off. Another option is to add some support. Robin will bring her leg over. If you feel like you can't get that knee all the way down, you can add a blanket for support under the knee and try to relax into that stretch. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it helped your low back. For more ideas, visit our website at robinandvictor.com. You can click under Strength Coach to get online training or video consulting. Join our mailing list for recipes and great articles. Thanks.